Hey crafters, welcome to another Inkscape tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to wrap text around a circle. It's really easy to do and you can use it in loads of different ways. If you're here, I'm assuming you're a crafter, so I thought I'd start off by showing you a little bit of inspiration on how you might use these ideas in your projects. So let's switch over to my screen. So you can see here some ideas that I have. I might use this if I were debranding and personalizing a coffee cup, or personalizing a platter, or even, wanting to wrap text around a logo. So there are loads of cool ways of using this. Let's get straight into the method. Just so you know, I am using Inkscape version 1.1, so if you need to update yours, I'll put a link for you below. So the first thing I need to do is open a new document, File, New. Then I'll just hit these arrows to maximize this document. Now, to do this, we only need two elements, the first of which is a circle. So just come over to the left-hand side, click on that circle icon, and if you hold down Control and Shift on your keyboard, you should get a perfect circle like this. Then I'm going to take the arrow key just to be able to select it and move around. You can also press S on the keyboard. I'm just going to change the color. And then the next thing you must do is to turn this object into a path. So you just go up to the Path menu and hit Object to Path. Okay, let's move that up. The next thing we need is our text. So grab the text icon from the left-hand menu, click on the canvas, and then start typing. So I want to change the font. So if I click on this icon, the T icon in the top menu, it will open up the text and font editing menu. And then if I click in this list of fonts and just start typing the name of the font I want, it will come up and I can hit apply. And I might also make the size a bit smaller using the font size box, maybe take it down to 80 and then again hit apply, or let's make it 70, hit apply. So I have found that this technique works best with a serif or a sans serif font. And I mean that as opposed to like a cursive handwritten style of font. What I found is that when you wrap the text onto the circle, the spacing between the letters or the kerning for a cursive font gets a bit messy and it just doesn't look so nice. So I prefer using this kind of a serif font. You should play around and see what works for you. Also, if I'm confusing you with these different terms when it comes to fonts, I do have a whole video all about fonts and the different types and how you use them in your designs. So I will link that for you, definitely check it out. Okay, so what we're going to do now is select both of these items. So I'll just hold Shift and click on the circle. And now it's so simple. All you do is text and put on path. And we're basically done. So what I'm going to do is I've just selected both to move them a bit. Now, if you want to rotate this text around the circle, you don't want it on the bottom, you want it on the top. All you do is you click on your circle, and if you click for a second time, you will get these arrows come up, which are for rotating. So if you hover over an arrow, it turns green, and you can click and drag and just rotate to how you want it to look. So that looks good. I might make my text a little bit smaller, and right now it's still a text box. So I can in fact come back and change the font size and hit apply, and it will make that change for me. So I'm going to rotate once more a little bit. Okay, that's looking good. So we need to do one more step to finish this, but I'm going to make a quick copy of this using Control-C, Control-V, because I have something else I want to show you after. Okay, so if you remember from my other Inkscape tutorials, whenever you work with text, before you can import that into Design Space and have it cut, you need to turn it into an object, and we follow what I call the golden trio, because there are 3 steps. The first is path, object to path, then object, ungroup, and then path and union. So just remember those 3 steps whenever you're working with text. So now we've got the text as an object that will be recognized in Design Space as an SVG, meaning it will cut this out if you were to put it onto your canvas. So that's great. Now, the next thing I wanted to show you is how you might get text which is on the inside of the circle. So you can see LondonCraftGirl right now is wrapping around the outside of the circle. If I instead wanted that to be on the inside, all I would do is flip the circle. So you can see this icon over here. So I've just clicked that and it has mirror image the circle and therefore mirror image the text. So you can see this method is really simple. One last thing I'll show you which takes a little bit more thought is if we go back to my first document, you can see this bottom right design here where I've got text as I've just shown you on the outside of a circle, and then we've got text that was on the inside, but it looks like it's all going around the same size of circle. So to achieve this kind of look, we need to basically resize this circle here to get it to kind of match this lettering here. Now what you could do is first make sure your lock icon is on so that when you scale up, it kind of stays the same size in terms of the aspect ratio. If you just click on an arrow and drag, then you can see it is resizing it. The problem is that it's resizing it off to a corner, like off to one side. It's not, what we need is for it to resize from the center. So Control Z to undo that. And what I will do is instead come up to the object menu and select the transform option. And that opens up this menu. So click into scale. Make sure you've selected the box for scaling proportionally. Again, this is to make sure you resize as a perfect circle. And if I now type a percentage scaling in here, I keep it at percent. There are options here for other ways of rescaling, but percentage is what I like to use. And then hit enter. You can see that has rescaled my circle here. So what we can do to make sure that this is looking about the right size is, I will first of all bring down the opacity of this circle. So if you click on the objects menu, and then I've selected the circle and you can see the opacity down here. I'm just gonna click that down. So it's at about 30% now. Okay, so now I'm just going to move these two to be on top of our original circle and I'm gonna just do this by eye, just kind of get it sort of in the center. And this is actually looking good. What I will do is click on that larger circle and just rotate it because I want to get this lettering a bit more centered. And that's looking good to me. You can see that the tops of the letters, of like the smaller lowercase letters, are just touching the outside of that darker pink circle, which is what we want. So we need to follow the golden trio on this lettering because as you can see right now, it is still editable text. So path, object to path, object, ungroup, path, union. All right, so if I now delete the two circles, you can see we have got two bits of text, one on the outside of a circle, one on the inside, but they look like they're on the same circumference. All right, guys, that's basically everything you need to know about how you would wrap text around a circle. I hope that was useful and these steps were easy enough to follow along. I'd love to see how you use this idea in your projects. Please tag me on Instagram at LondonCraftGirl, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, happy crafting!